in the last class we had started with types of poverty. In that we had studied rural poverty and we had studied urban poverty. Now let us move further and study in detail about poverty. So let us go through the table of do you know. Following are some of the food and non-food items required to be on the poverty line. Food items: cereals, pulses, milk and milk products, salt and sugar, edible oil, egg, fish and meat, vegetables, fresh fruits, spices, beverages, processed food. And non-food items like fuel and light, medical, entertainment, durable goods, rent, clothing, blending, bedding, footwear, education, toilet articles, conveyance. So the things which are to be included, or some of the things which are included in poverty line, are these. So it is not that only poverty line consists of only food items, it shall also consist some of the non-food items, because those are also important for the existence of the human beings. Now, next we shall be studying with the next concept, that is extent of poverty in India. Now, what is the extent of poverty in India? Extent of poverty is measured by the poverty ratio. It is the ratio of the number of poor to the total population. Studies were conducted by individual economists as well as research institutions to ascertain the extent of poverty in India. Since 1962, the Planning Commission had appointed several working groups, task force, and expert committees for estimation of poverty. So, in the extent of poverty is measured by the poverty ratio, and the poverty ratio is the number of people, the number of poor divided by total population. And in the studies which were conducted in 1962, the extent of poverty is high in India. We see a higher extent of poverty in India because there are many people who are still fighting for the basic daily requirements of them. So, the Planning Commission had appointed several working groups, task force, and expert committees for estimation of poverty. Now, next we shall be studying about estimates of poverty. Now, what are the different estimates of poverty? Earlier, poverty line were based on calorie intake. It did not include the non-food components such as education, health, etc. Government of India had appointed various committees to review poverty line from time to time. So, what is the what? How do you calculate poverty line, or how do you estimate that someone is below poverty line, someone is above poverty line? So, for that, there is a basic calorie intake which we had studied in the earlier part of the chapter, in which it was written that 2400 for the rural people and 2100 for the urban people. So this was the calorie count, everyday calorie intake for a human body. So in this they did not include the non-food components such as education, health, etc. Then government appointed another committee to check all these factors. In 2012, an expert group under the chairmanship of Dr. C. Rangarajan was constituted. This committee submitted its report in 2014. As per the report approved by this committee, a new poverty line has been decided for rural and urban areas. Table 8.1 provides estimates of poverty by the Rangarajan committee. Following are the estimates. See, poverty line in rupees consumption expenditure. Now, rural expenditure is rupees 972 per month. That is 32 rupees per day per person. And for urban areas, it is 1407 rupees per month and rupees 47 per day per person. So, the poverty ratio comes to 30.9%, and urban poverty ratio comes to 26.4%, and the total is 29.5%. So this was the estimate which was taken in 2011-12. So and now we shall be seeing about the estimate of the state-wise poverty ratio. So the state-wise poverty ratio has been, we are seeing that there is different in different states depending upon the population of each of the state. So right from Andhra Pradesh till West Bengal, they have covered all of them. Now, so now we shall be studying with the next concept, that is causes of poverty. Now, what are the causes of poverty? So, let us study in detail. Following are the major causes of poverty. First one, population explosion. As we know, this is one of the very basic and one of the very important problem for the poverty, which is population explosion. So, population explosion, unequal distribution of resources among the rapidly growing population has led to deprivation of basic facilities, causing widespread poverty. So population explosion, rapidly growing population is one of the very basic and one of the very severe cause of poverty. So the this has led to deprivation, that is not getting basic needs even for the people who are staying in the country. Next we have slow economic growth. Due to agricultural and industrial growth, the growth rate of national income and per capita income has been slow over the years. It has resulted in poverty and a low standard of living among the people. So, the second is slow economic growth. Even after 70 years of independence, still we say that India is a developing country. So many countries in the world have already devastated and grown up again stronger. But still we say that India is a developing country. So from this we can say that India is a slow economic growth. So because it has a very slow economic growth and the main sectors are agriculture and industrial sector, so it is taking a lot of time to grow. So this is also one of the reasons for having a poverty. So as people have a low standard of living and because they are not earning much, so they generally have a very low standard of living. Then next is employment and underemployment. Poverty in rural and urban areas has also increased due to unemployment and underemployment. So, the poverty in rural areas and urban areas has increased due to people are not having jobs. Then they are into underemployment. Due to this pandemic, we are seeing that many people have lost their jobs. So, we are seeing that many people have lost their jobs. Then people are not having basic requirements to be fulfilled, that much also money. So, this pandemic we are seeing has affected many people, not only has harmed people or physically, but also the people are facing unemployment and underemployment in this area. So, there is a lot of poverty seen. Then, next we have about in economic inequalities. The wide inequalities have been observed in the distribution of income, assets, consumption, expenditure, credit facilities, agricultural land holdings, etc. This has led to to a high incidence of poverty. Now, next we have economic inequalities. As we see that the rich are getting richer day by day, and the poor are getting poorer day by day. So there is a wide inequality, and the distribution of income, assets, consumption, expenditure, credit facility, agricultural land holdings also is changing, and this has led to a high incidence of poverty. So these are some of the very basic reasons and problems which are leading to poverty. After economic inequalities, now next we have inaccessibility to infrastructural facilities. Due to lack of purchasing power, infrastructural facilities such as energy, transport, communication, health, and education are inaccessible to the poor. This perpetuates poverty. So, we can see due to the lack of purchasing power, since people are not much rich, so they do not have much power to purchase, and the since the infrastructural facilities such as energy, transport, communication, health, and education are not accessible to the poor people or to the uneducated people, so this also is one of the reasons, major reasons for poverty to be seen in India. Inflation. Inflation refers to a continuous rise in the price level of essential commodities, especially the food items. Growing demand for food and its insufficient supply causes the prices to rise tremendously. This results in the low purchasing power, making the poor still poorer. Food crisis has led to manipulation, malnutrition, hunger, and starvation among the people. Inflation. Inflation means what? A continuous rise in the price level of the essential commodities, in which there is especially food items. So there are many essential commodities which are getting higher price. So many basic requirements have changed the prices, and due to this, there is a tremendous rise, as the supply and demand and supply, both the things of the item are getting affected, so it is showing a rise in the prices. So this results in low purchasing power. Not everyone can afford the higher prices of each and every good. So this affects, and they do not get proper nutritious food, and so this also leads to poverty. So inflation also being a major reason for this. Then next we have regional imbalance. Regional imbalance is also one of the causes of poverty. States such as Orissa, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, etc. lag behind in terms of economic development, and therefore have a high poverty ratio. So, regional imbalance, since there are many countries which are not economically developed, and since there is a lot of the focuses on different other things. So in these states of Orissa, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, they lag behind in development, and hence there is a high poverty ratio in these areas. Now next we have vicious circle of poverty. This concept is given by Professor Ragnar Nurse. The operation of a vicious circle of poverty has trapped Indians into miseries, which in turn leads to low national income, low per capita income, low capital formation, low savings, low production, less employment. Figure 8.2 explains the vicious circle of poverty. Now, next we will see about the vicious circle of poverty. Now, what do you mean by vicious circle of poverty? Vicious circle of poverty means each and every factor is dependent upon the other. So this circle continues to go on and on for years together. So now see in the figure 8.2. First, we see that there is low in national income. Why there is low national income? Because low per capita income. Now, what do you mean by per capita income? Per capita income means every person who is there, he is earning very less. So there is less income in the family. Then, since he is earning less, there are low savings. Then, because of that, low capital formation. Then low investments. Then low production, less employment, and low national income. So this all these factors are dependent upon each other. As one factor gets affected, the entire circle keeps on affecting. So these are the various and major reasons for this for poverty. So it is called as vicious circle. Means what? Never ending. Continuously, these all factors are dependent upon each other. Now, next after this, what are the other factors? Other factors: recurrence of recurrence of natural disasters. Means what? If there are any kind of natural disasters, so it is going to affect. If there are floods, if there are cyclones, then the people staying in and around those areas are getting affected, which in turn affects the poverty. Then caste, religious, racial and gender discrimination. As we see, there is a lot of discrimination in the Indian society. Then administrative inefficiency and corruption. Since there is inefficiency in the administration, that is the management, as there is a huge population, and everyone is focused on getting themselves better, so there is inefficiency in the administration, and there is a lot of corruption which we see. Then leakages in public distribution system. So as we see that the price which a farmer quotes. Suppose he quotes rupees 10 for a product. Then while selling it to the wholesaler, he will sell it for 10 rupees. Wholesaler will sell it to the retailer for 11 rupees. Retailer will sell it to the small businessman at 12 rupees. Then the small retailer will sell it to the customer at 15 rupees. So there is a lot of distribution system. Means what? That there is a lot of middle people who are dealing with the products, and hence farmer gets the lowest, and customer has to pay a higher price for the products. So this was about the factors of causes of poverty. Now let's study about the general measures to eradicate poverty. Now, what are the measures to eradicate poverty? Policy measures undertaken for eradication of poverty are as follows. Firstly, control of population. So, as we see that government is taking many different steps or schemes for the control of population, but it is a little difficult task to control the population of such a huge nation. So, in that first one, we have control of population. Family welfare program and population policies have been introduced to keep a check over the population growth. Earlier, they used to have 5 children, 6 children, 7 children, but nowadays it has become into a nuclear family, that is maximum 2 children. So, this is one of the ways to control poverty. And if we control population, obviously we shall be able to control the poverty problem also. Next, we have agriculture. Farmers are provided with cheap credit facilities to purchase agricultural inputs. The government also announces minimum support prices for selected crops to ensure stable agricultural income. So since farmers are provided with cheap credit facilities to purchase agricultural inputs, and also the government announces that there are certain schemes for these agricultural crops, and also they ensure stable agricultural income for the farmers. If the income of the farmers is proper, and if they are getting proper income for the this crops that they sell or the finished product that they produce, so only then there will be chances of people getting into farming. Otherwise, agriculture sector shall be affected. Next, we have rural works. Employment opportunities are provided to poor through construction of rural roads, irrigation projects, rural electrification, etc. So, in the rural areas, people are given opportunities to do the construction of the road works, then irrigation projects, then rural electrification. So, providing electricity, we are working with the electricity board, or constructing the roads of the rural areas. All these things is providing rural employment, and in turn it is helping for the poverty to get eradicated. Next, we have rural industrialization. To promote employment in the rural areas, emphasis has been laid on setting up of small scale and cottage industries. So industrialization, as there are more industries set up, so it helps to uh, promote the rural areas, and also it is helping to have maximum growth in the rural areas. As we know that once rural area starts developing, urban areas shall also start developing. Minimum wages. Minimum Wages Act was passed in the year 1948 to provide fair wages to agricultural and industrial workers. It has been revised from time to time. So, Minimum Wages Act, which was passed in the year 1948, this has given a standard for seeing to it that fair wages are provided to each and every worker. That is basic wage rate, so that they have at least a basic income for satisfying the needs of their household. So this was the intention behind passing this minimum wages act. Then next we have public distribution system. To ensure food securities, food grains are made available to the poor people at highly subsidized rates through ration cards under the public distribution system. So we know that every family, the poor families have a ration card, and each ration card depicts a different showing that in which class the family is ensured. So this was done for the poor people to get food grains at a very nominal price and at the ration shops, so that they can show these ration cards and see to it that they get their minimum food grains and basic needs in these ration shops. Next, we have nationalization of banks. To ensure financial inclusion, credit facilities are made available to the poor at low rates of interest. For this purpose, nationalization of bank was undertaken in 1969 and 1980. So, financial inclusion means what? Nationalization of banks. So this was done because the poor people had to get loans at a low interest rates, and since these poor farmers are not able to pay back the amount of loan, so these credit facilities were given in which poor people were made loan available at a very low interest rate rather than the interest rate which is provided in the other banks. Then progressive tax measures. To reduce income inequalities and the distribution of income, progressive tax system has been introduced. So progressive tax system means as per your earning you pay tax level, different tax level for each of the income. Suppose if it is till 5 lakhs, you don't pay anything. After 5 lakhs till 10 lakhs, there is a certain rate of interest. So after 10 lakhs, if you are earning, then your income will be given a little more interest rate. So according to the income, they have changed the tax rate so that it is helpful for the poor people also, and also for the middle class people who are able to satisfy their more basic needs, but having to pay taxes and all becomes little difficult. So they have given progressive tax system. Then next we have education. To increase the enrollment ratio, primary education has been made free and compulsory for all. Free education for girls, midday meals program, sanitation, and safe drinking water, etc., have also been provided. So, maximum people who are laborers, who are working as contract workers on different sites and all, they cannot give their children education. So what they do is they make their children also work, so that they feel that they can also earn money and satisfy the human needs. But the government has made compulsory for free education, and they have made primary education free. As we know that till 8th standard they have decided to provide free education to everyone. Then girls are given midday meal program, because many people, they don't educate their girls. They say that why to spend money. So it is very important even for the girl to get educated. And midday meal programs has given one, it is like giving people to come to their school and study. They give them different facilities such as midday meal. Then they give proper sanitation. They teach them how are they supposed to be maintain their self hygiene and all other things. Safe drinking water is provided to them. So these all programs are being taken up by the government for taking care of the girls and also the education of the poor people. Then next we have affordable housing. Slum rehabilitation programs and affordable housing facilities are provided to the rural and urban areas. So in slum areas, they are building small slum rehabilitation centers where people are given at a very subsidized and very cheap rates. They are given housing facilities so that they don't stay on the streets and make the streets dirty. Instead of that, they can stay in a proper house where they can maintain hygiene, and also there is a proper rule and regulation in the country. Then next we have health facility. Primary health centers, government hospitals uh, have been established to provide medical treatment at subsidized rates to the poor people. So there are health facilities which are provided at subsidized rate. As we know that government hospitals provide maximum services at a minimum rate. So these have been established just for the purpose of providing medical treatment to the to the poor people at a very subsidized rate. Then next we have skill development and self-employment. Skill development is considered one of the important aspects for job creation in India. For this purpose, opportunities need to be provided for skill-based training. So, since these poor people are also talented, so they are given an opportunity to develop their skills and self-employment. So that they also get employed and they start working, and the basic needs and the main problem of poverty is also eradicated. Inspire people towards entrepreneurship or self-employment. And after this, now down they have shown, try this. To ensure food security, the government of Maharashtra has introduced Tricolor Family Ration Card. Find out the income criteria of each ration card on the basis of the information provided by the Food, Civil Supplies and the Customer Protection Department. So these are the different ration cards which are given to different public, that is depending upon the income they are distributed with different ration cards, and each ration card provides a different facility. And so this is one of the measures which has taken being taken by the government. Now next, poverty relates to economic progress of the country. Therefore, anti-poverty programs introduced by the government needs to be monitored from time to time. Leakages and bottlenecks need to be identified for its effective implementation. So from this chapter we have studied that there are many people who in the middle, in the process of giving it from the government to the people, there are many people in the between which are called as bottlenecks, who are trying to ruin the situation, and the government is also unable to do anything. So it is very important to identify the bottlenecks and leakages in between, so that the schemes which are introduced and implemented by the government work successfully for the people. So with this we complete the chapter of poverty also. And from the next class we shall be starting with the ninth chapter, that is economic policy of India since 1991.